Hurricane Laura will cause an unsurvivable storm surge. Boy, oh boy,
That sounds pleasant.
sounds fun.
Unsurvivable.
Yeah, that's what it says. Unsurvivable. That's what the BBC says. So there we go.
Bleak.
So Hurricane Laura is expected to cause an unsurvivable storm surge, extreme winds, and flash floods as it hits the United States, according to the National Hurricane Center. So Laura was upgraded to a Category 4 storm as it approached the coast of Texas and Louisiana. And to all of our viewers and subscribers who are in the states of Texas and Louisiana, whether you subscribe to us or not, please be safe. Please take care of yourselves. Avoid any kind of dangerous situations. I know we're here in Chicago, but our hearts do go out to all of you, and please be safe. So the NHC warned local residents to rush to complete preparations. 500,000 have been told to leave. Laura and another storm, Marco, earlier hit the Caribbean, killing 24 people. Marco has already struck Louisiana, bringing strong winds and heavy rain on Monday. Initially, it was feared that both storms would hit Louisiana as hurricanes within 48 hours of each other. This is something I think very few of us have seen in our lifetimes, and this goes once again proves the ever-growing threat of climate change. Daniel, I do want to hand it over to you because you've talked about how hurricanes have formed when we were on our radio show and occasionally here and there when we do cover stories about hurricanes. So please, for our viewers, explain the mechanics of a hurricane.
Okay, this is a really easy way to understand hurricanes. It's the simplest method by physics when you have water conditions as they are to move heat from one area to another. That's it. That's a hurricane. That's how it works. And then a hurricane is just that in motion.
So what can we expect from Hurricane Laura? Now, this is in the article here. Gunnar, if you could scroll down to that portion. Again, we're looking at the coastal areas of Texas and Louisiana being hit hard the most. Earlier on Wednesday, the NHC said satellite images had shown that Laura had undergone remarkable intensification to become a formidable hurricane. In a series of tweets, it said that Laura was expected to bring life-threatening hazards, no duh, and an unsurvivable storm surge to parts of the coast and Gulf of Mexico. Well-built homes could incur major damages. Trees could be snapped or uprooted. Electricity and water would be unavailable for days or even weeks. Mind you, we are still in the threat of a pandemic, and also people are at risk of losing their homes and apartments, and also we have massive amount of unemployment. This is going to be a serious disaster to a lot of the local economy in the state of Texas and Louisiana, and it will impact us nationwide. So just because you don't live in a hurricane zone, we are going to feel this, and this is the danger of climate change that we have talked about on this show. So in the tweet that was said by the National Hurricane Center, unsurvivable storm surge with large and destructive waves will cause catastrophic damage from Searim State Park, Texas, to Intracoastal City, Louisiana, including Kalamazoo and Sabine Lakes. This surge could penetrate up to 30 miles inland the immediate coastline. So again, checking it out there, that's a large amount of territory. And
then there's
look,
a hurricane right behind it?
Yeah, there's also Hurricane Marco possibly as well at risk. I just want
Wasn't Marco ahead of it?
Yeah, Marco was ahead of it.
Okay.
That is correct. I think they actually made a separation, so they're not going back to back, but there was at risk.
You'd be
of that.
really great. I mean, sarcastically. Then they're like, oh, let's just merge.
That is
Well, that's what they were expecting.
that's what a lot of
fearing,
people
on Monday.
were at rest. So the hurricane currently has maximum sustained winds of 125 miles per hour. It could reach 145 miles in the next few hours with gusts of 170 miles per hour. So storm surges of more than 20 feet are possible. In an update at 2 o'clock local time, the NHC reported 3.2 feet of inundation already on parts of the Louisiana coast. So just handing this over, this is the danger of climate change. And we talked about this way back in 2018 about relief fatigue and also fatigue at the state and federal level for relief and the resources needed, as well as all the donations too, because again, everyone's going to be struggling economically right now. We have a perfect storm of climate change, housing crisis, economic crisis, pandemic, and the thing is, we've talked about this in the show where possibly we could be looking at a lot of cities and major towns being evacuated or no longer being rebuilt on the coastal area because these storms just keep on coming and they keep on becoming more prevalent and more dangerous and more powerful. This is what happens when you have a country that refuses to acknowledge the threat of climate change. This is what happens when you have a political system, both the Democrats and Republicans, who continue to be bought and sold by corporations. The fossil fuel industry knew the dangers of fossil fuels. They knew about it in the 70s. They knew about it, and they did nothing, and they bought our politicians.
Still do nothing now.
Kira,
You
I
know,
want to
all
give
of-
you the final word.
All of these disasters going on in a completely stunted government, you know?
Yeah.
A government that is no longer on recess because of another disaster going on with our post office. I mean, it's just one thing after another, and they still got dollar signs in their eyes.